And the juries for both defendants are back in court, and we'll resume with the direct examination of the witness. Would you state your name again for the record, please?
Joseph Lyle Menendez.
All right, I'll remind you that you're still under oath, and you may continue your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Menendez, the other day we were talking about the expectations that your family had for you, particularly your father. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And he had expectations of you, particularly with regard to sports. Is that correct?
Yes.
But he also had plans for you in terms of where you'd go to school, where you would work, etc. Is that correct?
My whole life.
Who was going to make the decisions as to which schools you would go to?
Objection, Vegas to time.
Who made the decision as to where you went to high school?
I would say my dad, but I really don't know if it's my dad and mom or my dad.
Did you make it?
No.
Who made the decision as to where you went to college?
That was my dad.
Did you want to go to Princeton?
It was fine with me.
Did you ever express an interest in going somewhere else?
Yes.
Where did you want to go to school?
I wanted to go to school at University of Pennsylvania or somewhere closer to where my girlfriend was going to go to school.
And did you apply to University of Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Were you accepted?
Yes.
Did you tell your father you wanted to go there to school?
Yes.
And yet you ended up at Princeton.
Right.
Left to make your own selection, where would you have gone to school?
University of Pennsylvania.
Did your parents also express strong opinions with regard to who your girlfriends were?
Very much so.
Who was your first girlfriend?
Stacy Feldman.
And is that the picture that's up on the board?
Yes.
And what years were you and Stacy together?
Until I was 18. I started between 15 and 16.
And did you consider this a serious relationship?
Yes.
Did you talk to her about marriage?
Yes.
Did you two pick out the names for the children you were going to have?
Objection, irrelevant.
Yes.
And did you buy Stacy presents?
Yes.
What kind of presents did you buy her?
Jewelry, flowers every Friday.
What kind of flowers would you give her every Friday?
Roses every Friday.
What kind of jewelry did you buy her?
Bracelets and like a few heart pendants. Got her an emerald heart pendant for her birthday, and lots of gifts, and a whole family of stuffed animals.
When you say a whole family of stuffed animals, how many stuffed animals did you get her?
Like 20 of these white teddy bears that we called Pookies.
Why did you call them Pookies?
That was because of the Garfield cartoon. He has a little white, or a little teddy bear he calls Pookie. When he gets insecure, he always gets his teddy bear. So I got her that because we were apart so much as I lived with my parents. And
did you think that animals would be comforting to her?
yes, they were soft, and they had made me feel safer. And when you're feeling lost, and her parents were divorced and there were problems, and for me it was very comforting. Gave me, you could have your own little family there in the room with you and play. And so I slowly built up a family for her.
Were the animals that you had like family for you?
Yes. They were they, especially early on, but really all the way through my teenage years, sometimes they got me through the day.
How did they get you through the day?
Just taking me out of where I was and into this other world of these friends was very important to me, and as I got older, it was embarrassing because really, stuffed animals are for little kids, but they were just important to me.
Is it embarrassing for you to talk about it?
Yes.
At one point, did Stacy tell you that she was going to break up with you?
Yes.
How old were you?
I was 18.
And how did you feel about that? Did you buy her something then, a big present to try and...
Bought her a fur coat, or actually I made payments on a fur coat.
How much?
I wanted to give to her.
How much was the what did you have to pay to get the fur coat?
I put down $150 or something like that.
And you were going to make payments?
Right.
Did she take the coat?
No.
And were you working at the time?
No.
Where was the money going to
I
come?
was training, playing tennis and stuff, but I wasn't working.
Where did the money come for all these animals and jewelry and fur coats?
My parents, they didn't necessarily give me the money for those purposes, but there was just money. My house had money just laying around, and
What do you mean just laying around?
my dad, every time he came home, he took out his pockets and he'd throw his money and his credit cards and everything on the counter, and just wouldn't pick it up the next day. My mom didn't do anything, and there would just be money around. And sometimes I would use that, but my mom and dad gave me quite a bit of money frequently.
Did you have use of credit cards?
Well, I had the money access card, which I used mostly. I had a credit card also, my mom's credit card that I was authorized to use, but mostly I just used the money access machine where you just put in the card and take out $100 or something, and it was never a problem.
How old were you when you were authorized to use the money access card?
It was when we started in Pennington, since 6th grade, 12.
And did you have phone credit cards that you used?
We had the Sprint number and an AT&T number at one point. I don't remember when we had each, but and there was a company credit card, and I always used those. We traveled a lot, and so I just always use them.
Would you travel sometimes without your parents?
Sometimes.
For
Certainly later on I did.
after the relationship ended with Stacy, who was your next girlfriend?
Jamie.
Yeah. Did your parents approve of the relationship with Stacy?
No.
Did they approve of the relationship with Jamie?
Much less so.
And what did they disapprove of with regard to your relationship with Jamie?
Number one, that they felt that she was after family money. She was a gold digger. And they felt the same thing about Stacy, although that was more my mom's feeling that she did not want me to be with any girls from a broken home, and the parents lived apart. And Stacy's mother had a boyfriend, and my mom was constantly complaining about that. But with Jamie, it was that she was after the money, and also she was always dressed in tennis clothes, so she had tennis skirts on and things of that sort, and my dad thought she was a slut. And my mother was just sort of beside herself about Jamie. And the first time Jamie presented herself to my family, she was dressed like that. And apparently my mom heard about it, and it just started from day one.
Did your dad tell you at some point of something he had done to try to interfere with that relationship?
Yes.
And what was
He did,
that?
Well,
Was
the worst thing he did was
Jamie a tennis player?
she was a tennis player, and for a short period of time on a tennis tour because of my dad.
And how did that happen?
She was working in Alabama and at a tennis club, and my dad arranged secretly for her to be sponsored, because I was now at Princeton, and she was coming to see me a lot, and whenever I could, I went to see her, and this was upsetting my dad greatly. It's distracting me. So his idea was to send her off on the pro tour around the world. So he financed that through other people that approached her as if they were friends of the club and helped finance her. Some of the people were financing legitimately, but the bulk of it was my dad's money. We didn't know it at the time. I found out later from him, and other relatives of mine knew about it and talked to me about it also.
Your next girlfriend after Jamie was Christy, is that right?
Right.
And at some point, did Christy tell you that she thought she was pregnant?
Yes.
And did the relationship end with her shortly after that?
Objection, Vegas to time.
In the spring of '89, did you have a relationship with a young woman named Christy?
Yes.
And after you found out, after she told you that she might be pregnant, did the relationship end shortly after that?
Yes.
And did your father tell you he had done something in relationship to that relationship?
Yes.
And what was that?
He had approached her, and he said he had approached her and paid her and basically intimidated her into getting an abortion.
After that, did you date a young woman named Charmaine?
Yes.
And how did you happen to meet Charmaine?
Well, after I broke up with Christy, actually the same day, or the next day, that I was sort of very down about it, and my dad came up to me and said, you know, I have a girl you should date, and you should meet her and give her a call. She's wonderful, and she may be going to Princeton, and this is the girl for you. And he gave me the number and told me to call, and so I called.
How did your dad know her?
She was the daughter of a business associate of his.
And is this the first relationship that your parents approved of? Did you?
The only one.
In addition to going to Princeton, had she won some other title?
Yes. Dad said she was Rose Bowl queen. She was a beauty queen winner for the Rose Bowl parade. And
I'm showing you what we marked as 243. Is this Charmaine?
yes, it is.
Now, the picture we put up here of your mother, is this when she won a beauty title?
Yes, Miss Oaklawn.
And is this the girl your dad picked for you?
Yes.
Did your dad say he wanted you to marry her?
No.
Who was going to make the decision about who you married?
Well, Dad, we talked about that, and Dad said that he hadn't really decided what I was going to be doing exactly, as far as whether it was going to be politics or whether it was going to be business or exactly what. And once I had figured that out and was set in that, we would find out.
Who was going to figure this out, whether it was business or politics?
My dad, I wasn't going to be able to do it without my dad, and he was, he hadn't decided yet. And at the time we talked about this, I was a tennis player and thought that I was going to be going in that direction, but...
So since he hadn't decided yet whether you were going to go into business or politics, what was the connection between that and you getting married?
Well, once we figured that out, we could decide what was the most, what was the appropriate girl. Like Charmaine seemed to be good for politics. But it just, the temperament of the girl, and just, obviously he would never want me to date somebody like Christy, who was too, he didn't think she was smart enough. And if I was going to be at business functions and so on, his experiences, somebody that's smart, knows the right things to say, will just sort of follow along with him, like my mother.
Now, who was going to pick this wife? Was it going to be you?
I don't know. We just talked about it in the abstract, and I imagine it would. He would approve of whatever. I just expected that he would eventually approve of a particular girl. We never really discussed that. I know that the choices I had made were disastrous according to them, and no way was I marrying these girls.
Did you love these girls? Did you love Stacy?
Yeah, yes.
And Jamie?
Yes.
And Christy was a shorter relationship, I take it?
Yes.
Was this okay with you, that your dad was going to decide what your future was going to be and approve who you married?
Yes.
You talked about going to Princeton and that you had applied to other schools as well. Did you fill out the college applications?
No.
Did you pick the schools that you applied to?
No, except that I asked that University of Pennsylvania be one of them.
And who picked the schools you were going to apply to?
I don't know. I mean, my mother was in charge of all the applications. She sent them out, she got the forms, and she filled them out. So I don't know if she was picking them or my dad. More than likely it would be my dad.
You said she filled out the applications.
Right.
Who wrote the essays that went with the applications?
My mom, but I don't know. I got the essays in essay form. So I copied them.
You didn't write them?
No.
Did you assume that this is the way everybody applied to college?
Freshman or element?
Overall.
And my mom, the main essay was about my mom's dad, and I'm pretty sure she wrote that because it was all her personal knowledge of him. So that was probably her.
Did you think that this is the way everybody applied to college?
I thought it was. And then I talked to some of my friends, and Stacy filled out her own applications, but I thought that was because her parents didn't get along and the relationships were there were, it was a broken home, and she sort of went back and forth. I thought it was because she had no choice or something, but I assumed that that's what happened. All through my tennis sports life, I never filled out an entry form My mom did everything with regards to that. I pretty much had no idea. Even my dad didn't have an idea of what tournament I was going to be playing next, unless it was a major championship and we knew it was coming up. We would find out like 2 weeks before. My mom would say, you know, you have this coming up, and then my dad would start preparing. So it was the same with school.
And when you were in high school, who did your homework for you in high school? My mother did a lot of it. My dad wrote some of the papers if he wanted to. I did. Otherwise, I didn't really do homework as much as I did studying for tests, papers, things that had to be handed in like that. I pretty much just got a grade off for the homeworks, or my dad had somebody do them all at the end of the year, and I handed them in late and just got a half grade. And this hurt my grades somewhat, but I seem to get a lot of leniency from the teachers because, I mean, of all the sports activities and all the things I was doing after school. When you went to Princeton, did things change? Did you start doing all your own homework and papers?
No, it didn't change.
And who was doing the work for you in college? Was your dad doing some of the work for you in college?
Yes.
And would he decide which things he wanted to do?
Yes.
And did you have an assignment to write a paper about a work by Machiavelli?
I don't know if it was the do about Machiavelli or they gave you a bunch of choices. I think they gave you choices, and Dad picked Machiavelli that was just one of the things we had talked about early on in our life and all the way through the kind of historical battles and things like that. So he, I was always reporting to him, and he was always wanting to know exactly what the assignments were, and especially since there was a lot of choices at Princeton as to what essays you would do or what electives, and so Dad wanted to know the choices, so he could, if he saw something that he could do easy, then he could just do it for me, and I could save the time. Then I had more time for.
And did you turn in a paper based on a work by Machiavelli, a work called Prince?
Yes.
And, Your Honor, I have an exhibit I'd like to mark collectively as 244 in the prosecution. May I approach?
Yes.
Mr. Menendez, I'm going to show you what we've marked as 244A, which appears to be a five-page typewritten paper. And I ask if you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
This is a paper I did for one of my classes at Princeton in the fall.
Is this the paper we've been talking about?
Yes.
Regarding Machiavelli?
No, this is one of the ones my dad did.
And marking 244B, which is a handwritten document. 10 pages in length, and asking if you recognize the handwriting.
This is my dad's. I think this is the first copy of it that he wrote on Live Entertainment Stationery.
And is this the first draft of the paper you eventually turned in?
Yes. And this,
showing-
his secretary typed this, and they FedExed to me, and I handed it in.
showing you what I've marked 244C. I'd ask you to take a look at that. It's a two-page typewritten document with handwritten corrections on it.
Yes, this was dictated. At least that's what my understanding is that it was dictated.
And is it a draft of this same paper?
Yes.
And in looking at the contents of this paper, does it reflect certain philosophies which your dad discussed with you?
Oh, almost exactly.
I'd like to direct you to the last paragraph. On the fourth page of this document. Does that paragraph particularly reflect the philosophy that your dad taught you?
Section number 1.
Which one? The bottom one?
Yes.
And the middle one? Okay, the bottom one, yes. And the middle one.
Could you just read the bottom one for us?
Machiavelli's view of personal trust and loyalty is consistent with his overall premise. While it would be desirable to achieve personal trust and loyalty by one's subjects, it would be dangerous and foolish to base one's rule and the stability of the state on this premise. For personal trust and loyalty without the ever-constant presence of pain would, in his judgment, be set aside whenever it was convenient for the general population to do so.
Is that reflective of the type of instruction your dad gave you?
Yes, and he did this, I got a bad grade because he did it without the book. I had the book in New Jersey, and I kept telling him, you should buy a copy of the book. And he said, oh, no, I know all this.
And were you criticized because this was not truly a reflection of the book, but more a reflection of his own philosophy?
Yeah,
Did you get a bad grade on it for a particular reason?
yes, the teacher said that it was interesting, but that it was basically just my ruminations and not reflective of Machiavelli's actual work in the Prince.
And whose ruminations actually are contained in that paper?
My dad's.
Were you suspended from Princeton?
Yes.
And were you suspended from Princeton because you copied another student's work and turned it in as your own?
Yes.
Did you call your dad and tell you that you were in trouble because of that?
Did I call and tell him?
Yes.
Yes.
And what was his reaction?
He didn't think I was even serious when I called him and explained to him. I didn't want to call him. I was very nervous about it. My Aunt Terry said, no, you got to tell your dad this is serious. And,
Was he upset at the idea of you being thrown out of Princeton? Or
oh,
suspended?
very much so, yeah.
Was he upset because you had cheated?
No, he didn't think that, he didn't think that I had cheated. He basically thought it was a joke and that they could jeopardize his son's life over a lab report was beyond his comprehension, and thought that the hearing was just supposed to be just like one of those things that just gets to that point, you go through the motions and then it's over with. And then when I got suspended, he was shocked and immediately flew to Princeton to meet with the president to get him to reverse it. And the president wouldn't do that, and although he met with my dad. And my dad just thought the Princeton system was screwed up.
Why?
Because I was there to meet people, make contacts, get the degree, and the president of the university should realize that, and that's why he's the president supposedly, and it's not about doing lab reports.
But you were suspended.
Yes, I copied the guy's work.
I'm sorry.
I copied he was my lab partner, but I copied his work, so I got suspended for a year.
And when was that?
That was January of '88.
And did you stay away from school for a year then?
Yes.
And you returned in January of '89
Yes.
or February of '89? Whenever
Yeah,
the school-
February, I think it starts.
During that period of time, did you go to work for your dad?
Yes.
And how long did you work for your dad?
A few months, like 2.5 months,
Now, was
maybe
this-
3 months at the most.
Was this during the summer?
Yes.
And were you working full-time?
No.
How-
4 hours in the morning.
And what was your job title?
Didn't really have a title. I was just sort of a management trainee.
What type of jobs did your dad give you?
I had a bunch of different projects that I was supposed to complete. I was supposed to, the business was paper-oriented. The whole accounting system was done on paper, and I was supposed to figure out a way to computerize the accounting department.
Did you know anything about accounting?
No, but my dad was a CPA, so it was a big interest of his, and he felt that his company should be done on computers, although he didn't know anything about computers, and I didn't know anything about computers either.
So you didn't know anything about accounting, right?
Right,
You didn't know anything about computers.
right.
Did you know intimately about your dad's business?
No, but I was involved in meetings and things like that, so I got an understanding.
Did you have either the knowledge or the skills to accomplish this job?
No, I failed that job pretty miserably, although I did meet with all the accounting people, and they were pretty annoyed that I was taking their time. And I tried to work out the spreadsheets and figure it out. But I didn't get anywhere.
Did the accounting people seem to resent you being there?
Oh, yes.
Okay. What other
Sure.
projects did you have there?
I was in charge of, the worst one was I was in charge of reviewing the expense statements of the distributors in the field, what they spent on food and tolls, and check it over and see if I thought there were things that seemed improper or excessive. And they had ways to check if I needed to go that far, and then single out the ones that seemed to be different from others and excessive and report them.
Why do you say that was the worst one?
Because it was I felt like I was prying into. I just felt like it was no business of mine. It was just an awful job to have to do over people's expenses statements and figure out which ones are being excessive. And these people, knowing my dad, these people would be fired or demoted or something of that sort. And so it was an awful job, and basically it was a short one because I seemed to think that everything was in order.
Did you have a number of other projects while you were there without naming them? Did you just have a number of other projects?
Yes.
Were you trained to do, did you have the training or the experience or the knowledge to do any of the projects you were given?
No.
Did you succeed at anything you did that summer working for your dad?
No, it was basically getting in the way.
And how about the people you worked around? Did they like you? Did they appreciate your presence?
No, I mean, obviously they resented me, and I was just the chairman's son, and they actually gave me an office in the executive section, and I had to write reports on the state of the company as to how people were doing and walk around and talk to people, and nobody wanted to talk to me.
Did you get to observe your dad around the other people at work?
Yes.
Did they seem to like him and be comfortable around him?
Oh, no, they were.
Objection, Emerald.
No, they, it was basically like a company ruled, like a little fiefdom, and he was sort of at the top, and everybody else was like equal underneath him. And they barely got moments with my dad, but when he came in, everybody would be quiet, scurry into their offices, and the meetings were just incredible amount of pressure for everybody, including myself. He was very, he humiliated. I saw him humiliate people. I saw him dismiss people, not answer them when they asked him a question if he didn't feel it was worthy of an answer.
Yeah.
And he just, he was the guy that made things happen. He was like the wonder boy. And he really was. It was like magic what he did, and the stock just skyrocketed. So, they paid him millions of dollars. And
Did he
he was
seem
it.
to, were there some people that he treated with respect?
well, he brought, yes, somewhat. The people he brought from New York, who were, I guess, used to this kind of behavior. People, he brought a couple people from New York, and he would treat them a little bit more respect.
Did people seem to be afraid of him?
They were terrified of my dad. He was really, they didn't want to get fired, but they didn't want to get humiliated or cut down. And
How did this compare to your home?
compared to my home,
Yeah.
well, it wasn't as, he didn't treat them as bad as, it wasn't as bad as the home, but it was, I didn't see him hit anybody or anything like that, but he just, it was just a state of, it was like a oppressed state at the office, so in that way it was similar.
Over the course of your life, did you see your dad in social settings?
Yeah,
Around relatives and
yes.
friends? Did he seem to be somebody who was in control in those situations also?
I wouldn't say he was in control. He just, when he was there, it was just a different atmosphere. And my dad was it was like a lonely, it seemed like a very lonely existence. In fact, I talked to him about the fact that it was a lonely existence, because people were afraid to talk to him. And then he would come into a room, people would kind of be quiet. I see him with family gatherings, and people kind of move out of the way. And adults, sometimes, and the little kids were scared of him. Sometimes, like one of the female cousins would be willing to come up close to him and talk, and he would be very flirtatious and charming. But it was very much a tense sort of atmosphere around him, always.
Your parents moved to California in 1986, is that correct?
Yes.
End of the summer?
I think it was earlier, a little bit earlier. I think it was before the end of the summer, but
Sometime in
it could have
the
been the end of the summer.
Sometime in the summer of 1986? And you stayed in New Jersey?
Yes,
And you're now 18 years old, is that correct?
right.
And did you stay living in the Mountain Avenue house?
Clarify.
Mountain View
Age
House.
18 was in 1986.
Correct.
I said now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor, thank you. 1986, you're 18 years old. Did you stay living in the Mountain View house?
Yes,
And did you take over things like paying the utilities, the phone, running the house?
no. We had just moved our things in, and my mom settled in, and then the family left home. And the home was still there, and the things were still there, but the family wasn't. And I was still there because I was supposed to go to school that fall. So I stayed there.
And who took care of the running of the house, the paying the bills, that type of thing?
My mom did.
And
She ran all the family's finances, expenses. Everything was left up to my mother, except one credit card of my dad's that he handled through the office because he couldn't afford to have her miss payments and things like that.
and did she miss payments often?
All the time, yeah.
And when you were living in this house in Princeton, and they're in California, did she miss payments with regard to utilities and phone and things like that?
Yeah, the phone would go off, the lights would just go out, no electricity. We didn't have electricity for a few weeks in the winter. At one point, the phone I would usually try and get back on right away. She just, she was really in bad shape that fall. And I think whenever she got into those states of real depressed, sort of overwhelmed states, I think that was the cause of missing the bills.
Why was she in real bad shape that fall?
Because of my father's affairs, she had discovered, and she was suicidal.
What do you mean she had discovered?
Well, apparently she had discovered him because she would, it was Louise. She would constantly be yelling about Louise, hounding my dad with pictures that she had taken personally of Louise in New York, her walking down streets and stuff. Credit card receipts all spread out of Louise's, things my dad had supposedly bought for Louise. And, trying to track him down around the world because I guess he and Louise met around the world. And she was just, really crazed with this. And
Are you talking about just the fall of '86, or?
no, this continued for about a year and a half. And she would always bring it up, but the really just attacking my dad, suicidal behavior was more of that period. Then it sort of changed a little.
And how would you know that she was in this kind of shape? Did you see it, or?
Well, my brother would call me continually,
Was he upset?
frightened about her behavior or what she had done, or he was always upset about it as far as being depressed about it. And I would see it whenever I flew out there, which was pretty frequently.
And did they fly back? Did your parents fly back pretty often during this period?
Very often. Our home was Princeton, basically, and that's where I was. That's where my Aunt Terry lived, all our relatives, where I went to school. That's where everybody was. And So they had moved to California, so they continually came back. My dad would pop in all the time, not all the time, unexpected, I would say, at the very least once a month, but sometimes more than that. Just show up at my Aunt Terry's house because he would have business meetings in New York or in different areas, and then would always stop by.
How often were you talking to your father on the phone during, say, the period of 1986? For the year after they moved, how often were you talking to your dad on the phone?
I talked to my dad a couple times a week.
And what about your mom?
I didn't have a lot of conversations with my mom, but I would be at Aunt Terry's and she would be calling constantly.
And did they seem to be asking questions about what you were doing or what was going on?
Well, with my dad,
Rephrase the question, please.
In your conversations with your father, what would be the subject matter?
pretty much the same as it had always been, just exactly what I was doing with sports. Probably more detail than usual since he was kind of far away. And I got the feeling that he wanted to know more exactly what I was up to as far as, you know, if I was changing if the coaches were changing my strategies that he didn't like, or he just was seemed to be concerned that I might drift off into some strange strategy or something that he didn't like. So I pretty much kept him up to date week to week. That's exactly what was going on.
And you said that you had conversations with him about what was going on in school and what papers, that kind of thing?
Yes.
At some point, did you get a call from your brother Erik that he'd found a particular letter that was upsetting to him?
Yes.
And do you remember when that was?
That was in right after I'd broken up with Stacy that fall.
So this would have been
Right before I met Jamie.
So this would have been fall of '86?
Right.
And what did your brother tell you?
Objection, hearsay.
Is it being offered for the truth?
No, for state of mind, Your Honor.
All right, the statement then is not received for the truth of what was said, just to reflect the state of mind of the declarant, is that it, or the recipient of the conversation? Okay, just to reflect the state of mind of Mr. Lyle Menendez, and is received only for that limited purpose.
Did your brother read a letter to you?
Yes.
And was that letter written by your mother?
Yes.
And what did that letter say, basically?
Basically said that she had no other way out, that she couldn't handle the shame of a divorce from Dad, that her one of them, something about that her fury that her mother had allowed herself to get a divorce and it had ruined her childhood in a sense, and that she was sort of an outcast because of that, and she would not allow that to happen, and so she was sorry that she had to take this way out, and that she was leaving, and that she realized that Jose, my dad, never loved her, and got what he needed from Louise, and she couldn't give it to him, and she was tired of it, so she was checking out. That's basically what she was saying. And
What did that letter mean to you?
Well, I thought it was clearly a suicide letter. She wasn't just leaving town, and my brother didn't realize that at first, and I felt I should tell him that's what I thought it was.
Did you do anything?
With regards to my mom?
Yes.
Yeah. I told Erik that I would to put the letter. He had just found it, and so I told him to just put it back where he found it on the coffee table thing with the books, and pretend that he hadn't found it, and that I would try, and I would talk to Mom, and we would try to lift her spirits and tell her that we would side with her in a divorce and let her realize that that's what she should do. And so that's what I told him I would do, and that's what I did.
And did she express appreciation for your concern?
No, she was just extremely upset and accusatory that I was trying to break up her marriage. How could I suggest that she was unhappy? She said she never regretted a day of being married to my father.
Did you know she was seeing a therapist at the time?
Yes.
And did she say anything to you about pills that she was taking? And I'm talking about the period between 86 and 89. Did you ever have a conversation with her about pills she was taking?
Yes.
What did she say to you with regard to that?
She said that she was taking, this was at my Aunt Terry's house, and she said that she was taking 13 pills a day, and she showed them to me.
Whose fault was it she was taking those pills?
Objection calls for speculation.
Did she tell you?
Yeah, she told me that that I had to start doing better and stop upsetting my dad so much because he was coming down on her, and the whole thing was causing her so much stress. She was having to take these pills. It was actually a nice conversation.
What was nice about it?
Well, she was, my mother never reached out to me, and she came to me and said, and she looked very, very sad, and wanted my help to help her not have to take these pills, basically. And I tried to tell her that, I thought things would be fine, and there had been a lot of stressful times that spring, but I thought things were going fine.
Did you know that all of this was because of the affair?
Objection calls for speculation.
Rephrase the question.
Did you have information based on what your brother had told you and what you'd seen that her condition was because of finding
Right,
out?
I knew that. I knew that it was because of Louise, and.
But she was saying it was because of you.
Right, but
Why was that nice?
because she was reaching out to me.
At some point during this period from 86 to 89, did your brother tell you your mother bought a rifle?
Objection, hearsay, which is correct.
Sustained.
This is state of mind.
All right. I'm sorry?
Irrelevant.
All right, the objection as to relevancy is overruled. If there is an answer, it is received only to reflect the state of mind of the witness here.
Did your brother tell you at some point in time that your mother
Yes.
bought a rifle?
Yes, in the summer of '88.
And did your mother have guns already?
Yes.
What kind of guns did she have already?
She had her rifles.
Were you concerned about the fact that she'd bought this rifle?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because I felt this whole period she was very much out of control, and she was having the same rages. She was extremely unstable, and seemed to be having that conflict with Louise with my dad, and very mad at the world, and was buying a new rifle, and I was concerned.
You said something about, at some point, seeing pictures of Louise. Is that right?
Yes.
And did your mother tell you how, excuse me, how she got those pictures of Louise?
I saw them twice, once with her showing them to my dad, saying that she had taken these pictures, and another time from reading her journal entries that I found to help her deal with the alcoholism, and I guess it was her. I guess her therapist had asked her to write these journal entries because they were basically like written to him, and she was writing about how.
Objection, possible.
Objection sustained.
State of mind again, Your Honor.
All right, it would be received only for that purpose, the state of mind of the witness.
What information did you have with regard to what she had done in connection with Louise
I don't understand the
in
question.
the pictures?
That she had gone to New York and found the woman and followed her and took pictures of her to prove that she was visiting Dad.
Now, did the situation with Louise, your mother's concern over Louise, ever stop? Did she continue talking about Louise?
Yes.
And did she talk to your dad about Louise and what he had done in front of you?
She did, and like I said, in that later period, she did.
Was there an incident at the airport?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me about the incident at the airport?
Objection, Vegas to time.
When was the incident at the airport?
Incident at the airport was Christmas. Eric was going. Let's see what year it was. Christmas of '88, I believe. Eric had a tournament in Arizona, and we were all at the airport because we were all going to the tournament. It was a tournament that took place over Christmas. And we were at the ticket counter buying the tickets, and there were not enough seats. Oh no, we had the little dog, Rudy. That's what it was. So we had the dog, Rudy, and they wouldn't take Rudy because he hadn't been checked in properly and something about that. In any case, they wouldn't take the dog. Something about that. And my dad volunteered at the counter that he would stay behind and we could fly, and he was willing to stay behind with the dog and take the next flight after he was properly checked. And my mother just flew off the handle in front of the lady at the ticker counter and said, "Oh, so you can meet your girlfriend Louise in the bar?" And said, no, I'm not that stupid. And just, it was a huge scene. My dad was just standing there with the dog and said, "Oh, okay, Kitty, we'll all wait. And we did. We just purchased tickets for the next flight, and then we left with the dog.
Yeah. Did your dad's reaction surprise you?
It shocked me.
Why?
It was just part of it was really one of the beginning of a number of incidents where she was very openly aggressive with my dad, embarrassing him in front of people. This was just unbelievable in front of the ticket counter. And my dad's reaction was zero, just a mask of being conciliatory, and it's like he just gave in to my mom. And
Was this different than who he'd been earlier in their marriage?
if that had happened earlier, I only saw those things happen in the house, if that had happened in the house, he would have struck her.
And what if it would have happened in public earlier?
He would have done the same thing, but I don't know. She would never have done that in public to him earlier. Even when she was not really in control of herself, she wouldn't go out of the house unless she was at a state where, they wouldn't be in public together where she was that out of control.
Was their relationship very different in California than what you had seen earlier?
It was completely different.
What was the change?
The change was that they were like more of a couple. Really, for the first time, I saw them as a couple in California, holding hands. My dad being very polite to her, basically agreeing to whatever she wanted, as far as where we would go, what we would do that day if it was something she wanted to do. You know, even went shopping with her at times. Just stuff that could never happened before. Couldn't even imagine it. And it was very strange.
Brenda, could we take a break here?
All right, we'll resume at a quarter to the hour, ladies and gentlemen. Don't discuss this case with anyone. Don't form any final opinions about it. And we'll resume at 15 minutes to 11. While the parties are all present, all counsel, the juries are not. Counsel wanted to discuss the matter.
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with Mr. Menendez during the break, and he's indicated he's not feeling well. He's nauseous. He's having trouble concentrating. He doesn't feel well. We knew that this morning when he came in. He said he wanted to try and see if he could do it. He felt badly about not testifying yesterday, and he feels like he should do it if he possibly can, but he says he's just having trouble concentrating, and the nausea is not helping, and he can't go forward.
Well, have you actually vomited or just you have the nauseous feeling or what?
I was just feeling very dizzy, and I do have stomach problems, and I'm feeling nauseous.
Okay, so when you say dizzy...
I haven't eaten anything, so I'm not vomiting at the moment.
Okay, when you say dizzy or woozy, that's...
Yeah, it's woozy up there,
And you can't concentrate, is that it?
That's the main problem.
Do you think
I just can't concentrate. I'm just having trouble processing the questions and answering.
Okay, as far as the wooziness or dizziness, is that because you haven't had anything to eat, do you think, or feel that it's because of some problem with just some bug that you have?
Well, the doctor told me that I should try not to have anything solid to eat because he said that it will turn into vomiting, and so I should just drink liquids, and he told me what soups I could have at the jail and went through the list. So that's what I've been sticking to.
All right. And is it your belief then that you cannot continue at all today, or you want to wait until this afternoon to see if you feel better, or how do you want to do that?
I don't think I'm going to be able to continue today. I really was feeling bad this morning, but I just felt I should go on. I feel pretty off.
All right. Well, obviously, nobody is interested in having you proceed if you can't comprehend the questions and respond to them. Therefore, if that is your belief, is that right, that you can't really deal with that?
Yes.
Okay, then we'll have to recess the proceedings, and hopefully by Friday you'll have recovered from your ailment and be ready to proceed. All right, does anyone want to be heard on any scheduling matters or any other matters relating to the juries at this time?
No, Your Honor.
I did have, first of all, I'd like to thank the court for the order yesterday. Mr. Menendez, Erik Menendez, got remarkably quick attention. Okay. The other thing is, I did have a scheduling problem for Monday the 20th, and we thought we had it worked out because of the next order of witnesses. I thought there'd be a Lyle Menendez jury witness only for the 20th. But now that Mr. Lyle Menendez is still ill, I think it's fair to say the prosecution will be cross-examining on Monday the 20th. Would that be fair, Mrs. Banana?
I think so. Your Honor, I also have an appearance that I have to make. I can't have anybody else make it on that Monday morning.
Well, the only
I think
indication for Monday was that Ms. Abrams had something she wanted to take care of, scheduling a medical appointment, but...
Here's what I've done. I've made the medical appointment for 9 o'clock, and I would, basically, it's a two-prong medical appointment, but I can let them only deal with one prong so that I can be here by 10:30, so that we don't lose Monday morning, if that would be acceptable.
Well, no later than 10:30. Again, if we have this afternoon, perhaps you can communicate with whoever it is with whom you have the appointment, see if you can squeeze it in this afternoon.
I might be able to do
And as far as Ms. Morrissey, I need to proceed, we all need to proceed with this case without these delays. We've had lots of delays in recent times, and really we can't proceed with a half a day here and 2 hours there and no time the next day. It's everyone has to focus on getting this case completed and filling out each day rather than as we've proceeded the last few days.
If I can't reschedule for this afternoon, if I still have Monday, and if the court would grant me until 10:30, even if Ms. Morrissey's not back, we'll proceed.
All right.
Mr. Menendez, Erik will waive her appearance for if she's late, if she's delayed.
All right, but again, if you can reschedule it, that's much to the good of everyone.
I'll try.
All right, then, one other matter here before we have the jurors come in. The bailiff indicates that one of the jurors who does speak some Spanish or understands some Spanish was in the hallway and indicated to the bailiff that she overheard some individuals speaking in the Spanish language. She didn't comprehend what exactly was being said, but did overhear that and made sure that she removed herself from that location. And if there are people who are here as friends or supporters or acquaintances or family members of the parties who are speaking either in English or in a foreign language, they are instructed not to have any conversations in the hallways, in the courtroom, or anywhere else where any jurors can overhear what is being said. And if they cannot do that, then they will be removed from the courthouse entirely. And counsel are to confer with such individuals as well to ensure that this does not occur. And further, when the juries come into the courtroom, even when the court is not in session, the audience is to remain quiet. This morning, Mr. Mons, how do you pronounce your name? Moniz was speaking in a loud voice when one jury panel was sitting within 10 feet of you, and that is unacceptable conduct, and you are to refrain from doing that, as is anyone else in the audience when these jurors are present. All right, anything else now before the juries come in?
I have a request, Your Honor, and I don't know if you're in a position to do anything about it, but I spoke with the bailiff. Mr. Menendez did not get back to the jail till 6 o'clock yesterday. Obviously, the sooner he gets back, the sooner he can rest and hopefully get better. So I don't know if there's anything the court can do to facilitate him getting back quickly, but obviously it's to all of our benefit if he gets better.
It all depends on the available transportation, and if there is transportation that can bring him back to the jail prior to this afternoon, then that'll be done. But that's up to the Sheriff's Department, and we can only ask that they look into the matter. All right, let's have the jury panels in, please. And to both juries, I'll give you the same information. Mr. Menendez, Lyle Menendez, during the recess experienced additional physical problems symptomatic of the same condition that he had yesterday, and feels that because of that condition he cannot continue in his testimony. It's physical condition, that an illness that is interfering with his ability to concentrate and respond to the questions, so that rather than proceed in that situation, I think it's best to recess at this point, give him a chance to recuperate, and we'll resume with the matter on Friday. As you're all aware, tomorrow has been previously scheduled as a day when the court would not be in session. It's a religious holiday for some of us, and therefore we will not be in session tomorrow. We resume on Friday at 9 o'clock, and hopefully by then we'll all be in a position to continue with the trial and keep going forward without interruptions once we get going again on Friday. So at this point, let me again remind you that you must not look at or read or listen to anything about this case outside of the courtroom. You must not permit yourselves to be exposed to anything at all about this case outside the courtroom. You must make your decision based only on the evidence presented in the courtroom and my instructions on the law, and you must not form any final opinions about this case until it is finally given to you for your decision. As far as the overall schedule of the case, there was some inquiry a while back by one of the juries, and it seems, although we've had these delays, that overall we're still on schedule, the schedule that was given to you at the outset, and I'll confer more with the lawyers about that and give you an update when you come back on Friday, but it seems to be that we're probably pretty much still on schedule as was outlined to you when the jury was selected in this case. So with that, we'll bid you a good afternoon and see you all back here on Friday at 9 o'clock.